That cold steel box had been in his possession for years. It wasn't money, it wasn't drugs, but something far more valuable than diamonds: technological secrets. They were the very heart of America's most advanced stealth fighter jet, the F-35. He, with the simple briefcase of an ordinary businessman, traveled the globe, building an elaborate web of deception, manipulating engineers, and collecting every fragmented piece of information. His goal was to transplant core American technology into China's newest generation fighter, turning billions of dollars worth of GE Aviation's research and development into his own. He held the position of Deputy Division Director in China's Ministry of State Security (MSS), a high rank within the country's main intelligence apparatus. After months of surveillance, the FBI knew they had only one window to capture this spy without triggering a diplomatic crisis. It was an airplane touching down in Brussels. The plan was risky, but if successful, they would net one of the most dangerous figures in the global economic espionage war. But what made a seasoned secret agent, an experienced technology hunter, make a fundamental mistake that led to his arrest on Belgian soil? To understand the man known as Xu Yanjun, you must first understand the relentless, global effort of the Ministry of State Security, the MSS. The MSS wasn't interested in political gossip or minor military movements. Their mandate was singular: technological supremacy. They operated with the understanding that a 10-year research advantage in the West could be acquired in just one night through espionage. Their strategy was cold, calculated, and highly effective. Xu Yanjun was not a rogue agent. He was an embodiment of this national strategy. As Deputy Division Director for the MSS's Jiangsu Bureau, his target list was focused purely on high-value, dual-use technology innovations that could serve both civilian aviation and, more critically, advanced military applications. His primary mark was GE Aviation, the world leader in jet engine technology. The technology Xu Yanjun was hunting wasn't just about speed or fuel efficiency. It was the entire thermal management system, the composite materials, and the minute design details that allowed an F-35 to exist as a true fifth-generation fighter. These were the very secrets that separated the U.S. Air Force from its global rivals. Xu Yanjun operated under the deep cover of a government official interested in academic cooperation. He would travel under false identities, attending conferences, posing as a foreign dignitary, or even an aviation trade expert. His true genius lay not in hacking, but in human engineering. He sought out mid-level managers and senior engineers at companies like GE, individuals who possessed invaluable knowledge, but perhaps felt overlooked or underappreciated. His pitch was always the same: an irresistible offer of collaboration, a hefty speaking fee, or the opportunity to consult for a Chinese university or think tank. These engagements were nothing more than a carefully orchestrated intellectual ambush, designed to extract trade secrets, one PowerPoint slide, one whispered blueprint at a time. This long-game approach was highly profitable. China's J-20 stealth fighter jet, which had debuted years after the F-22 and F-35, bore suspicious similarities to the American designs, a similarity many intelligence officials traced directly to the MSS's sophisticated, persistent campaigns. In 2017, Xu targeted a particular GE engineer in Cincinnati. This engineer, specializing in advanced composite materials used in jet engine fans, was exactly the kind of target Xu craved. What Xu didn't know, however, was that this engineer had become uneasy with the nature of the requests and had already contacted the FBI. The table had turned, and the hunter was now the prey. The moment the GE engineer walked into the FBI office, the operation changed from surveillance to an elaborate sting. The FBI recognized the gravity of the target, an MSS operative, not just a petty criminal, meaning every move had to be meticulously coordinated to ensure a successful prosecution, not just an expulsion. They had to prove intent in official capacity. The first move was setting up a secure, covert communication line between the GE engineer, now an FBI asset, and Xu Yanjun. The engineer's mission was simple: play along and escalate the requests. Xu, confident and methodical, began demanding more sensitive files, specifically the technical drawings and specifications for fan blades, and a proprietary locking material used in the jet engines. These were the crown jewels of GE's intellectual property. The communication shifted to email, a medium Xu believed was safe. The FBI allowed this because digital trails were the evidence they desperately needed. In his emails, Xu used typical MSS euphemisms, referring to the blueprints as the necessary academic materials and the payment as a scholarship fund. But the intent was clear. He was purchasing stolen US technology for the benefit of the Chinese government. Over several months, the FBI guided the engineer through a series of consultation trips to China, all arranged and funded by Xu. These meetings served two crucial purposes. First, they built up the trust required for Xu to make the final, most incriminating request. Second, they allowed the FBI to track Xu's methods, confirming that he was, indeed, operating on behalf of the MSS. The biggest breakthrough came when Xu stopped demanding digital files and asked the engineer to bring a physical sample of the locking material to Europe. This request was a critical mistake. Xu, perhaps overconfident in his ability to operate outside US jurisdiction, insisted on meeting in Belgium, a country with an active extradition treaty with the United States. He was trying to take possession of what he believed to be stolen goods on neutral ground. The FBI saw their opening. They prepared a briefcase containing the non-sensitive, real-world equivalent of the requested material, packaged to look like the genuine article. They also ensured the engineer carried a secure recording device. The plan was confirmed: lure the spy out of mainland China, secure irrefutable evidence of the transaction and his identity, and execute the arrest simultaneously. The trap was set. The final exchange was scheduled for a hotel lobby in Brussels in April 2018. Xu Yanjun, the MSS Deputy Division Director who had operated undetected for years, believed he was about to finalize his biggest score. He was walking toward the culmination of his espionage campaign, unaware that he was stepping directly into a collaborative law enforcement operation that had spanned 2 continents. The focus now narrowed to a single moment: the handshake. The arrest of Xu Yanjun in Belgium was a massive intelligence coup, but it was only the beginning. His immediate extradition to the United States, a process he fought vigorously, signaled the U.S. government's unwavering commitment to making an example of this case. This wasn't just a charge of economic espionage, it was an act of state-sponsored technology theft, and the Justice Department intended to expose the MSS's sophisticated, multi-year campaign. The courtroom in Cincinnati, Ohio, became the stage for a geopolitical drama. The prosecutors, backed by irrefutable evidence from the FBI's sting operation, laid out a clear pattern of deception. They presented Xu's encrypted emails, the fake travel documents, and the meticulously planned meetings where he systematically sought to undermine GE Aviation's proprietary knowledge. The jury heard testimony from the engineer, who became the asset, detailing Xu's charm, persistence, and the escalating demands for secrets about the F-35's engine fan blades, the critical components that define its performance. Xu Yanjun's defense team argued that he was merely an innocent government functionary, caught in a complex international trade dispute. They claimed he was engaging in typical academic exchange and that the requested information was either widely known or had a dual-use purpose, making it less of a state secret and more of a commercial curiosity. They painted a picture of a man dedicated to China's legitimate technological advancement, not a cloak-and-dagger spy. However, the prosecution used Xu's own words against him. They highlighted emails where he emphasized the importance of acquiring the entire technical process, a phrase that betrayed an intent to replicate the technology, not just understand it academically. Crucially, they presented evidence showing his official title and rank within the MSS, proving the espionage was sanctioned and executed by the highest levels of the Chinese government. The stakes were not just the fate of one man, but the security of American technological superiority. The deliberation was intense, but ultimately conclusive. The jury found Xu Yanjun guilty of conspiracy to commit economic espionage and theft of trade secrets. The clerk stood, the court hushed, and the sentence was read. The judge, in delivering the final verdict, noted that Xu's crimes were not only against a company, but against the national security and economic stability of the United States. The betrayal of trust and the methodical nature of the operation demanded the maximum deterrence. Verdict: Xu Yanjun was sentenced to 20 years in federal prison. It was one of the longest sentences ever handed down for economic espionage, a direct, unequivocal warning to any foreign intelligence agent operating on American interests. The spy who chased the blueprint of a jet engine would now spend 2 decades behind bars. Xu Yanjun's conviction and 2-decade sentence sent immediate shockwaves through the global intelligence community. It was the first time an MSS officer had been lured out of mainland China, arrested, and successfully prosecuted in the United States, providing a clear blueprint for counter-espionage agencies worldwide on how to neutralize state-sponsored economic threats. The case proved that intelligence officers, no matter their rank, could be held accountable. For GE Aviation, the long-term consequences were more complicated. While the FBI managed to seize the sensitive materials before they could be fully transferred, the fact that a high-ranking foreign intelligence officer had been operating deep within their talent pool was a deeply unsettling revelation. Companies across the U.S. immediately increased security protocols, realizing that the threat wasn't always a distant hacker in a dark room, but often an impeccably dressed intelligence official offering a handshake and a generous consultancy fee. On the geopolitical front, the case publicly confirmed what the U.S. intelligence community had long suspected. China's relentless pursuit of military parity was being achieved not only through internal innovation, but through a highly coordinated, global campaign of theft. The blueprints for the stealth fighter jets, the F-22 and F-35, remained critical symbols of the technological war being fought in the shadows. As for the J-20, China's own fifth-generation jet, its rapid development continues to raise questions about the extent of the stolen technology that may have been successfully integrated before Xu's capture. The jet flies, but at what cost to intellectual property and to the global balance of power? Today, Xu Yanjun is just an inmate, a former deputy division director stripped of his power, serving his time in a federal prison far from the halls of the MSS. His story is a chilling reminder that in the modern age, the most crucial battleground is often found not on the high seas or in trenches, but in the quiet, unassuming details of an email thread, and the ethical compromises of a single, highly specialized engineer.